I got this weird letter in the mail and it brought me here.
So, this way you've been coming after school all the time, though?
Yep, and thanks for covering with me with my parents, Kayla. Where are we today, Aaron?
You said to tell him we had accordion lessons, but I think it'd be more believable if we had soccer practice.
I said accordion lessons?
Accordion lessons.
I must not have been thinking straight.
Wow, check it out.
Hey guys.
He's so cute, look.
Cute mutt.
We just found him.
Yeah? Well, you better get rid of it before the professor sees it.
He's adorable. We can't just get rid of him.
Anyway, I'll see you kids later. I'm headed to UCSF.
So, what do we do with him?
We can't just get rid of him. He's too adorable. So I guess we'll just have to take him to the lab with us.
Good idea.
Wow, this place is awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know, right?
Good afternoon, Zoe.
Hello.
And who are you two?
These are my friends, Aaron and Kayla.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. What on earth is that?
Wow, a dog. I wonder where that came from.
No idea. It must have followed someone in. Well, I'll just call JD and have the police come and take it away.
No.
Fine, then you take it.
Hey, come on. Hey, JD, what's up?
Are we on? This thing's working? How's my hair? I look good, right? Alright, anyway, what's up, y'all? We're here at UCSF, and we're gonna learn about genetics. Let's go. Hello, sir.
Hi there, how are you doing?
I'm great, how are you?
Very good.
So, I'm from a local science laboratory, and I need a little help with genetics.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Sweet. What does a geneticist do exactly?
Well, most geneticists try to study natural organisms and variation in them and what they might tell us about ourselves. And we also look at things like diseases and how people respond to medications.
Well, what are genes?
A gene is a piece of information that you carry in your body that determines characteristics or traits that are important to you. They tell you how tall you're going to be, your hair color, your eye color, many things like that.
So I'm just a walking combination of genes.
That's correct. You have a unique set of genes that are unique to you, made of deoxyribonucleic acid.
From deoxynribo...
DNA, that's deoxyribonucleic acid.
Oh yeah, now I knew that. Deoxyribonucleic.
Exactly.
Speaking of genes, my mom is really short and my dad's really short, but my uncle's really tall. So, you know, I don't really want to be short. I want to be taller. Does that mean that...
Well, this is an interesting question because things like height are very much determined by genetics. Height is one of those things where the DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid contributes a lot, but there are also many other things that contribute to it. Your diet, how much you exercise. So it's a combination of genes and all the things in your environment that lead to how tall you're going to be.
So that's what they're talking about on CSI. They use genetics to catch a lot of criminals.
Well, they can do that, but genetics is also used to look at many other aspects of biology. For instance, helping people understand where they come from in the world, who their ancestors are, but also to understand the basic processes of how their bodies work and sometimes how they go wrong in the case of diseases.
Well, do you want to examine some of my traits? I'm pretty sure all my genes are dominant.
Well, I don't know about that. But we can certainly take a blood sample or a saliva sample and do a genetic profile on it. Come on, follow me.
Let's go.
When you think about it, it's almost like every life form on Earth is the same species. See, every creature uses the information stored in DNA. And even though DNA has been around for billions of years, we only just discovered it a couple of hundred years ago. At first, we only knew about genes and how to alter them by breeding. Now, Watson and Crick, though, won a Nobel Prize for discovering in 1962 that DNA is shaped like a double helix, and this shape lets DNA unzip like a zipper. The DNA is really small, but it holds a ton of information, just like a microchip. When DNA is being stored, it's gathered into bunches called chromosomes. Some proteins can make chromosomes unwind, and others can make them unzip. And when it's unzipped, you can see the code inside of the DNA. Now, there are 4 bases that almost make up a basic alphabet. Special proteins can add random bits to either side of the DNA and then make a copy of it. Just like a computer, the program to run DNA is written in the DNA itself. RNA molecules can read DNA before it gets zipped back up, and RNA uses this information to make the very same proteins that make the whole process happen. The instructions to copy DNA are written in the DNA itself.
Hey Luda, got a sec?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm really worried. One of my friends is living on the street. She's all alone. She doesn't know what to do. I can't even imagine what she's going through. I really want to help her. What can I do?
I know someone who can help.
Really? Who?
Call 1-800-RUNAWAY. They help kids having a rough time at home, in school, or on the street.
How else can you get in touch?
1-800-RUNAWAY.org. You can do a live chat on their site. They will help get her to safety.
Thanks, Ludacris.
Trust the National Runaway Switchboard. If you're having a hard time, get online or call to chat now.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Well, first thing we need to do is get a DNA sample.
Whoa, what are you gonna do to me?
Oh, I'm just putting this away. This is a pipetter. Oh, it's actually much less painless. We take a little sample of your saliva. You can spit into this.
Sounds easy.
Thank you. So we put a little solution in this, and then we run the DNA profile. Hey, Carolyn, can you run the exome sequencing on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Well, while that's happening, let's talk about dominant and recessive traits.
Recessive.
So for example, I can tell right off the bat, you have a recessive trait. That's freckling. The ability to have freckles like I do here is a dominant trait. You don't have freckles, so that's a recessive trait for you. Tell me, what handed are you?
Right.
Right-handed. Now that's a dominant trait.
Yes, I told you I was dominant.
Well, let's look at another. Take your hands together and lock them together. Now when you put your right thumb on top, that is a recessive trait.
Huh?
That's right.
Wow. So how can you tell the difference between a dominant trait and a recessive trait?
Well, geneticists usually do that by looking at how traits move in families or in pedigrees. We see how they move from generation to generation. You have copies of the genes that come from each parent, one from your mother, one from your father. And if they both have dominant copies of it, they come together, that's a dominant trait. Even if one of the parents has a dominant and one's recessive, that still comes together as a dominant trait. But if they both have recessive copies, they give them to you, you have the recessive trait, like the lack of freckling.
Wow, interesting. I had no idea. That sounds pretty complex.
Sure, it's very complex. But in the meantime, we can look at your DNA profile. Follow me.
Sure. Wow. So that's my DNA.
That's right. It's the most basic part of you. Your DNA is made up of 4 bases, just 4 letters of an alphabet, A, C, G, and T. And we can look at the entire sequence, all 3 billion base pairs of your genome, to find out the traits that make up your genetic profile. In fact, we have another way you can look at it. If we chop up your genome into small pieces, we can actually see each of the pieces. Here you go.
Cool. I'll be sure to put this on my wall. It looks like I got all the information I need to help out the professor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me. Hello? What's the puppy still doing there? It ate what? You are gonna get in so much trouble. Help you? Why should I help you? Okay. Fine. You owe me one.
What's going on?
It's a long story. But looks like I came to the right place at the right time. Looks like they need someone with your expertise back at the lab.
You need my expertise, you say? All right, let's go help them out.
What's up with the dog?
Oh no. Probably ate some of that experimental formula that the professor had.
What is that?
Oh no. The guest is here, so go take this for a walk or go play fetch or something. Just go do dog stuff, go.
We should get a new collar and a leash. We don't want him getting loose again.
Good idea. We'll be back in a little bit. Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go, puppy. Come on.
Hi, I'm Zoe, the new lab assistant.
Hi, I'm Steve Hamilton.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm sorry I'm running a little bit late. Had to get a haircut on the way here. Well, so JD asked me to come by. He said you need an expert on genetics. How can I help you?
Well, you can help with a lot of stuff. I think we might have some puppy problems, but hopefully my friends are taking care of that. So JD was just telling us about genes and traits, but I'm still a little bit confused.
Okay, well, let's start with the basics. What color are your eyes?
Brown.
What color are your dad's eyes?
Blue.
So therefore, your mother's eyes are brown.
That's true. How did you know that?
Well, everyone has their own set of genes. It's complicated, but basically you inherit genes from both parents. You have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and you get one of each pair from each parent. The X chromosome is a little bit different. Males have one copy of it, and they have something called the Y chromosome, and then females have 2 X chromosomes. But otherwise, they're all very similar. But anyways, since your eyes are brown, I knew at least one of your parents' eyes had to be brown.
Well, how come?
Blue eyes are a recessive trait.
What's a recessive trait?
Well, think of it like this. Some genes are more expressive than others, and these are called dominant genes. A girl with one brown gene and one blue gene is going to have brown eyes because the blue gene is recessive.
Oh, so you know I have at least one brown gene just by looking at me.
Exactly.
And that means one of my parents gave a brown gene chromosome to me.
That's right. So since your dad has blue eyes,
then my mom must have brown eyes. And I have both colors, but since blue is recessive, my eyes are brown. I get it.
that's right.
So what about green eyes or gray eyes or other different colors?
Well, it's complex. Genes express themselves in many ways, and everyone is different. And actually, there are over a dozen different genes involved with eye color.
So every living thing has DNA, from plants to people to puppies, and those genes get passed down and are expressed in different ways.
That's right.
That's cool. So what can you tell me about animal genetics?
Well, how about this? There's a gene that makes a cat's fur either white or orange. Now, since a male cat has only one X chromosome, he can either be either white or orange.
But not girl cats?
No. Female cats will only be orange or white if they have 2 similar copies of the X chromosome. But when they have mismatched copies, something else happens.
So you mean a calico cat, right?
Exactly.
Oh.
That's where cells in a calico cat each have to pick their own one X chromosome. So one will pick orange and one will pick white. That's a process we call lionization after Mary Lyon, a famous geneticist.
Cool.
But this means each cat has its own unique pattern.
Right, so but then what about dogs?
Oh, dogs are my favorite. I didn't tell you, but I actually work with dogs in the laboratory. We study their DNA and their genetics. We're interested in how genetics influences dogs' behaviors. For example, you may not know it, but dogs experience anxiety much like people do.
Yeah, my dog my dog does that a lot during fireworks or thunderstorms.
Exactly. In fact, that's what we actually study in the lab. We
cool.
study how dogs have fearful responses to things like thunder and to fireworks and gunshots, because some dogs have a very, very frightening response to it. And it turns out that that has a genetic component to it. And so we're trying to find the genes that influence that.
That must be a lot of fun. I love dogs, especially mine.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. We rescued her, so.
Well, most dogs out there are a mixture of different types of breeds. But that brings up the idea of dog breeds. There are hundreds and hundreds of dog breeds in this country.
Wow.
Each one is separate genetically, and where all the dogs in that breed are very, very closely related to one another. And they have very different traits, and they've been genetically bred for having a variety of different things.
Yeah, so how did you start working with animals?
Well, I actually trained to be a geneticist studying humans and human traits.
Oh, fun.
Things like diseases and how people respond to medications, things like that. But over time, I started to see how the people's breeding of dogs has led them to have traits that are very interesting to study as a geneticist and make it very simple to study.
Yeah, so what's your favorite thing about it?
Well, the thing I like working with dogs the best about is working with their owners. They're very, very concerned for the health of their dogs, and they like to participate in science and research in order to find out what's best for their dogs.
So what has working with dogs taught you about genetics?
Well, that a lot of things are under genetic control. Almost any trait that can be modified through breeding, people have tried it over the last several hundred years.
Wow, so what sort of traits do dogs have?
Oh, many different types of traits, starting with how they look, the color of their fur, actually the texture of their fur, many other aspects of their body size, from being very small toy dogs to very giant dogs, to things like behavior. People have actually bred dogs to have specific behaviors. Things like pointing, things like herding, jumping in the water, retrieving things. All of these have been selected genetically over generations and generations by breeders.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Did you study this in college?
No, I actually studied biochemistry in college. It was only later when I started to work with genetics in people that I started to become much more interested in genetics of dogs.
Yeah, well, it must be great to be able to work with animals in order to help them.
Well, anybody can help a dog, and anyone can have a dog to play with. There are many, many stray dogs and cats that need good homes.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Zoe.
Yeah.
Please tell the professor I'll see him next time.
I will do.
All right.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Nice. Yes, go! Yes! No! Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Wow. So people and animals have genes that can express themselves in different ways.
Yep.
I think there's something wrong with this dog.
Oh no. It didn't eat some of my experimental growth compound, did it? This is very, very bad.
What's gonna happen to it?
Well, if it's just aging, it'll continue to age and, well, until the day's over and... Oh no.
Oh no.
But if it's growing, it could grow until it destroys the entire city.
But will the dog be fine?
Well, fine depends on what you mean by fine. I think we should get it an antidote right away. Zoe, the Petri dish experiments will have to wait. I'm going to have to go and see what I can do about this.
Maybe we should see what happens when we use the formula on something else. Because all living things have cells, and all cells have DNA. And to grow, an animal cells have to divide.
All cells have a nucleus that's full of chromosomes.
And before a cell can divide, it has to make a copy.
Okay, so let me see if I can find the Petri dishes that the professor set out today.
How are we going to find a sample cell for our experiment?
I'm not sure.
Okay, here's the stuff. We can do a simple experiment using these Petri dishes and some Q-tips. So what we're gonna do is just use the bacteria that lives in our mouth.
Our mouth's gross. I'm gonna wash my hands before we do anything else.
Okay.
Here, put on these gloves though.
Good idea. This stuff's kind of nasty and I wouldn't want to get any in my mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Just take a Q-tip and swab the inside of our cheeks to get the bacteria. Okay, and then we're gonna put it on the Petri dish.
Okay. Like this?
Yeah, that's fine. And then we need to add a little bit of the special formula.
Cool.
And just put it onto one of the Petri dishes, because the other one we're going to use as a control to compare to this one.
Okay.
So, there we go.
Cool.
Oh my god, this one looks like a worm.
Whoa, this one's going crazy.
Let me see. Ew, it's disgusting.
What's happening? Why are they multiplying so fast?
It must be the formula.
Must be.
What are you doing? Straight to the incinerator with these.
Hey, that's my experiment. You can't just take that.
This compound is far too powerful.
But what about the puppy? Do we have to incinerate him too?
No!
Much as I would like that, I have a better plan for your canine friend. This new formula might just reverse the cellular damage.
Might?
Or it might turn him purple and make him a giant. We don't know, but the only way to find out is to bring your canine friend with me. Come on.
It works.
Well, now the little monster's back to normal. Wonderful.
Can I keep him?
As long as you promise to never, ever, ever bring him back in this lab again.
Promise.
This mud is still around?
Still around? You have no idea what we went through today. So, what do you learn at UCSF?
I learned a bunch of cool stuff. Here, why don't y'all give me a beat, and I'll tell y'all what I learned.
Okay. How do we do this?
All right, we're gonna go like this. Yeah. I'ma give you some information so we can try to fill your dome. A bunch of DNA supposed to be called a chromosome. So proteins can unzip them so that you can see the code. Special proteins have more random bits like this episode showed. I got recessive genes, but you know I'm dominant. My DNA's filled with my charisma, personality, appearance, confidence. Woo, look at how my genes are growing. My dominant genes are telling me that I'm bad to the bone. Yeah! Yo, guess what I got going on next week?
What?
Dude, huge, all right? This week, I'm taking my driver's permit test.
Nice.
And now there's no holding back for me. Have fun with this place.
Okay, we will.
That is so cute.